Hello there. Oh, down onto the beach. Got a nice forenoon on the Sunday, celebrating the day of the sun. This is look, I'm going to turn this around quickly. Watch it over there. Can you see? That's where we're all going to end up, I think. There's our mode of transport. If we keep doing it with these the zero emission insanity that they keep talking about. I was watching this. It was actually a news footage. I've got the little Mimi with me today. She's here, getting down the beach. Yeah, this news footage. And it was showing this these cars getting charged up, and they were like really excited that there were electric cars getting charged up outside this building, and it had all of the charging points, and obviously all made of oil. The charging points, plastic. So people don't think about that part though. Like, you know, well, what's that made of? Well, it's oil, isn't it? You know, plastic. And then the interviewer was asking whoever it was, some kind of American politician, so, well, where does this electricity come from? Where's it generated from? There was like blah blah power station or whatever it was, something like that. And I went, oh, okay, so how do they generate the electricity then? What fuel do they use to do that? And it was like coal. So they're talking about, I've just passed a van there and it's got zero emissions. I think that it's just the most stupid phrase you could ever actually state. Oh, it's zero emissions. And they said it in, you know, themselves. Where does that, or what does that power station use to generate the electricity? Coal. So if there's no emissions coming from the car itself because it's electric, you know, as it struggles from one point of charge to the other point of charge, but you know, they use coal to actually generate the electricity. You know what I mean? It's just, it's pathetic that people think that you have a zero emission. So I'm looking up now. It's virtually perfect blue sky. It was like that yesterday, and obviously you see the trails, all right, and you can see the difference. You know, why is it that you can see some planes, right, and they're flying across and they're making either very little or no marks whatsoever, and then you see the trails there. I mean, they admit what they're doing, they tell you what they're doing. You know, our good friend William Gates, you know, he says, well, we're going to try and stop the sun being so hot, so we're spraying the skies with chemicals. And that's a fact. You know, they don't try and lie about it or anything, they actually tell you. And then everyone laughs at you when you say, well, look, you've got chemtrails. You're a conspiracy theorist because you don't like them poisoning everybody. Bit mad. So I was just having a look at the markets today, on the crypto markets. I've got a couple of different places that I go and watch, and I watched gold and silver as well, on the markets and what they're doing and what they. Woo, hang on, there's a bit of water. I'm on the beach. What they're doing. So I was looking at the crypto. So yes, having a sniff. On the markets there, it's what everybody's going to tell you different things. So, but what I have noticed, which was definitely step over the puddles, correct, is that it's extremely volatile at a weekend. Alright, obviously not the term to be used correctly, but you know, over a Saturday and a Sunday there's no other markets on, but obviously the crypto markets are still running. So everybody wants to play in that market because there's no stocks and shares or anything else that's running, and that definitely has been weakened, right, because everybody's on it and it's extremely volatile. Get soaking here. I haven't got my wellies on. So you can see I've got a dog, a little Labrador, and it's a lovely little thing. It's not little, it's huge compared to my dog, but it's not naughty like bite or anything, but it runs and jumps around me. Oh, I think it's run off with its ball, that's okay. Anyway, so, oh, it's a big jellyfish on the sand. Oh, it's coming back now. It's coming over. Here it comes. The guy's got no control over it at all. Hello. Hello now. Hello. You okay? Hello. It didn't jump. It's Mia's tiny. That's all. Look. Little Meadle. She's only little. In here, Mia. Just little. Well, your needs up in the sea. No going in there. Well, we're going to get up here. Look, we're going to go up that way. Oh, the water's running in my shoes. There's like the harbour mouth there. So when the tide goes right out, look, see? You can actually go up the little harbour mouth. Right into it there. And sometimes it goes out further and that water's gone when it gets really low, and you can climb up the rocks and go up on the other side onto the island. But there, here, you can actually go into the mouth. And yeah, this is actually walking quite good today. Since Beauty passed a couple of weeks ago, it's been hard to get her out. You know, I only got out a couple of times. She's not herself. Hang on, Mia. Around, she's dragging me everywhere this morning. So we're going to go into the harbour mouth a bit. Yeah, so like anyway, the guy Chris, who sort of like helps me with the crypto stuff and everything, you know, at the end of the day, he's been, for me, as having a zoom, she's going mad. Mia, careful. He's been incredibly successful. So you can only like listen to people, or you should only listen to people if this, you know, it's all right saying, oh yeah, I think this, I think that, but I mean, he has, you know, not going too far up, getting muddy. Just turn back, Mia, come on. Oh, she's going everywhere. So he's been incredibly successful with what he's been doing. You know, so I'm gonna listen to him, and I'll just tie this in because like, he's away in I think Acapulco, Mexico, and there's big communities going down in Mexico from all over the world going to Mexico. You're choking yourself running like that, be careful. And they're doing it to get away from government overreach. Alright? A couple of interesting things were all about government overreach. And that's why these people have gone to Mexico, and I think Acapulco, but definitely down to Mexico, because they get left alone a lot more down there, apparently. Never been there, so I don't know. Oh, someone's had a party here. Left all the rubbish. That's insanity. I bet that's all the bloody kids from yesterday. Last night they all come down to the beach. I don't mind doing whatever they want to do, but can you take your rubbish home? But anyway, it's got this documentaries coming out, I think it might be out now. I think it might be called Anarchy or Anarchists. I'm not 100% sure. There's a crypto guy called Jeff Berwick. At least that's how I would say his name. B-E-R-W-I-C-K. Because there's a town up here called Berwick and it's spelt the same. Hang on. Gonna have to get a little doggy bag here. Mia's busy, if you know what I mean. Hang on. Oh. Hiya.
That's disgusting, isn't it?
Isn't it just crazy? Talking about the rubbish that they've left, and it's really tons of rubbish. You know, come down, have a picnic or party, even at night time. Bloody alcoholic binge, but take your rubbish home, man, don't we? Yeah, anyway, and he's, I think he calls himself, or he runs a site called Crypto Vigilante. I think you have to pay to go on it, but I get videos of him and that. And you can see a lot for free, you know, information. And but they were talking about, obviously, he's made a lot of money out of cryptocurrency. Now, crypto, the word, everyone says, oh yeah, but it says crypt, it means dead, and they're all going to trap you. The crypt part, Mia, come on, over here, comes from cryptography, which is secrecy. And they used to use these little, I don't know what you call it, these little machines, tiny little machines about the size of your finger, called cryptography something, and they used to keep secret messages in them if they would send them off to people. So if you try to open them and you weren't authorized to open them, then the message inside would be destroyed by this liquid, because you had opened it incorrectly, you know, like little coded machines. So all that cryptography, and the crypto means secrecy. So this guy Jeff Berwick, he talks a lot about privacy, which is what we're big on, which is what you should all be big on, your privacy, and private coins. And there's a few private coins which literally when you're buying and investing in these private coins, you are your own bank. You have your own bank and you have your own control. Now you can always be moving around, right? Moving the coins from one side to another and one coin to another, so then you can actually cash them out. Now remember, there's a lot more places are going to start using, come on down here, being able to accept crypto, and it'll grow and grow and grow. Right, now obviously government are going to try and control it and they've got their own digital currencies, haven't they, that they've launched. So, you know, but you just don't stay away from them while you're doing your investments to grow it. Now I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just listening to other people and I'm literally doing what they tell me to do. You know, it's getting all glary there. Come on, Mia. She's like sniffing. Be all dog way sniffing. But anyway, I think this documentary that they're doing is called something like Anarchy or Anarchists, and they actually talk about like the word anarchy as if it's bad, but anarchy just means like a society that runs without a government. Well, that's exactly what we want, isn't it? We want a society to run without a government. We don't want the government because they're just a bunch of criminal mafia thieves. So I definitely want anarchy. 100% I want anarchy, you know. So the way I am going to be like investigating more and more and more on the cryptocurrency, because it's got to be the private side, you know, and we want everything to be private. Hence why, you know, I'm trying to educate people on being private being in the private, getting and creating your private trusts, however you do it and whoever you do it with. And also, if you've got any type of commerce going on, alright, I don't mean a business, you want rid of them, then you should be creating your PMA, your Private Members Association. So on our PMA, it's a faith-based ministerial association. It's an unincorporated ministerial association. Now the faith, right, it's nothing fancy or weird about it, right? Our faith is a faith in nature and a faith in the nature of the Creator. Alright, that's it. You know, we're not trying to say we're going to start our own religion, but what that means is that our private trust covers our property, but our property is also covered by our PMA. Hiya. Which is, in essence, through our documentation, a church. Okay? Or a place of worship. Now, everyone's different. Like I say, I do think, you know, on the private side, when you're looking at the difference of the living man or woman compared to a person, which is under legislation, then, you know, if you're under legislation, then you are a person and you have to do, you know, what you're told, because you've decided and given away all of your authority to the thieving, pirate, lying, scumbag, mafia government. Whereas if you're the living, then you're standing, I a man, I a woman, which is how I write all of my notices, which is how I actually stand. Then you're not a person, and you've got nothing to do with acts and statutes and legislation. So just for, like, I was telling you this because of, like, the PMA, there's actually faith-based PMAs, right, are all over the world, and there are, like, certain councils around the UK, you should check your own, that if you have a faith-based property, then there is massive discounts for your council tax. Now, like I say, I wouldn't use that because, come on, over there. Yeah, because I would be going it on a different way, but everybody's different. Little Barky, she likes barking at her. Because, funnily enough, you know, I've just got a letter come through from the council. And I thought this was all finished, you know. Thought I'd sorted all this. So out of the blue, this letter comes, and it says, you know, and it demanding, threatening, you know, that we need to know, like, everyone who is in that property. And, you know, you will be issued a fine of whatever, I think it was 70 quid, you know, if we, within 21 days, you know, if you don't reply and tell us who's in that property. So I rang them up, and just to make sure that I have the correct name to send the notice to. So I get the name of the 151 officer. So it was quite funny when I rang up and I went, oh, can you just confirm the name of your 151 officer? And this bloke's on the phone. He went, oh. So I haven't been working here very long, so I don't know what a 151 officer is. So anyway, it took him about 20 minutes, and I could hear him going, oh, dear me, humming and hawing. But I mean, obviously he felt a bit awkward because he didn't know what it was. You know, sometimes you ring up the council, and it's just as if you've rang them up with massive insults and demanding, you know, their blood, and they're really ignorant. Now, this guy, he's only just started working there, so he hasn't been infected with their ignorant attitude too much. So he's actually trying his hardest to find out who the 151 officer is. Eventually he gets the name. Oh, that's it there, yeah. I was saying, yeah, it's the legally trained one. that can deal with these legal situations. So anyway, I've got the name anyway. I just wanted to confirm because of the change, obviously. So it's a legally trained, let's call them a person, because that's what they are, a legally trained person in the council that can deal with situations, especially about the council tax. So I've write the notice. Okay, so to the woman, blah blah blah, who sometimes acts as, and then her name again in capitals, 151 officer of the council. So we're going to tell them, I didn't tell them any names, like, so I'm the trustee, and I'm sending notice to agent, notice to principal, the trustee, on behalf of the blah 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 private members association held in private trust in the jurisdiction of equity, you know, and I want to have a bit of fun with it. So I'm saying, you know, why are you sending threatening letters demanding monies by menace, which is a criminal offence, to a private association which is in the jurisdiction of equity. What jurisdiction do you think that you have the authority to talk to me? Because I have no jurisdiction. Right, now if you look at any summons, which is fake, all the fake summons, lots of you have got them from the councils, and it says, you know, what would be, I can't remember the exact words, but something like, what would be the defence, you know, do you challenge the jurisdiction? So 100% I challenge the jurisdiction whenever I would say it, because it's, well, I'm in equity. What jurisdiction are you in, and what do you think you should be speaking to me in? And well, I've never had any reply yet. That was about a week ago, so, you know, be interesting to see what they come back with. But it's going to be challenging it, really, because the double whammy, because it's, you know, it is a PMA, private members ministerial association, and it is in a private trust. So it's completely in the jurisdiction of equity. It's expressed in equity, the private trust, and it's the documentation that goes in the private trust, by the way. So you set up your PMA documents, and your PMA documents are the asset. That's an asset. Not the PMA entity, but the actual documents are an asset, so you put them in the private trust. Yeah, so I just thought that would be interesting to see how that comes back, so I'll keep you informed how that notice works out with the 151 officer from the council. But that's how we're tackling things. I'm not, you know, everybody's different, and you know, they do the no obligation challenge, because you have no obligation, because, you know, you under the 1979 Local Government Acts, or whatever it is, 1989. All right, it's an act, which is an act of Parliament, which you can only be affected by if you work for Parliament, which means that you're an MP, or you're underneath them, part of their agents. Some people call them public servants, but they're just agents. You know, the clowns in costumes and these council clowns, the council. So you got to remember, like, you know, are you part of that organisation? Because I'm not. Now, I know now, I live in anarchy. Which means that I'm a society running without a government, which is good. And if you look at the what you call the government, the last week or so, what's been going on, all this pantomime nonsense. You've got to remember, it's just a pantomime. It is all just nonsense. None of it is real or means anything. But they were talking, I was I was down in Wales, so I was like driving, it's like a 5-hour drive back or something. You know, it's not the most exciting thing, driving along the motorways. So I puts the radio on and I puts a talk radio, I think LBC, so I just want to listen to what they're saying. Right, I don't pay attention to sort of like any of the circus act, but it's like, who's doing what, what's going on, what are you messing around with now? And they were just talking about all these ministers that had resigned. Dozens and dozens of them had resigned out of the fat clown's government, or whatever they call it, cabinet or something. They should all be locked up in cabinets. But and they were talking, well, you know, nobody's heard of these people, it's not very important. And then this guy saying, well, it is important because these are the ones that cannot pass the legislation. They can't pass the legislation, you know, because they've all resigned. And it's this legislation and that legislation. And I was just thinking, yeah, well, there you go, look, see, they pass what they call, right, it is legislation, but a lot of them, you know, and yeah, I've heard them say, I've even heard the clowns in costumes say it's the law of the land. It's not law whatsoever. Legislation can never be law. Okay, the law is the law under the creator, and it's the only law that there can be. Legislation, you can do it and you can follow it if you want to, and you have to consent to it. Have you agreed and have you signed a wet ink signature to a contract to say that you consent to legislation? And if you haven't, then you're not part of it. Right, you stand there as a man or a woman under law. So anyway, I just thought I'd have a quick chat as I'm going out. Yeah, we're on our way home now. At least you got out. No, which is good. Anyway, have a good day. Everyone, you take care. See you in a bit.